Hello, my name's Jalise. Welcome now, everybody, to my Star Wars prequels versus sequels. Right now, I'm going to be ranking each of the trilogies. Basically, this video could be described as why the Star Wars prequels are better than the sequels. Yes, I know the sequel trilogy has not finished. Yes, I know that still has one more movie to go. But I'm going to judge this trilogy right now because here's the thing, everybody. If you love the sequel trilogy, that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. But to me, sequel trilogy is shit. I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to be objective as much as I can, and I'm going to break down this video into 3 different categories. But for those of you who say I don't like new things, I just hate a female lead, or I hate a black lead, get the F out. I'm tired of this political bullshit. If you do not like a certain thing nowadays, you're immediately called a racist, sexist, whatever. And sad to say that the sequel trilogy comes along with that price of watching it. If you do not like it, you're immediately in a camp of racist and sexist. So yeah, everyone, I'm going to break down why the Star Wars prequels are better than the sequels, and we're going to just break down in 3 different categories, like I said. By the way, stating the obvious, Rogue One is not a sequel trilogy film. It's an anthology film. In all fairness, it's more like a prequel. So Star Wars Rogue One, which is the better of all the Disney Star Wars films I have seen so far, yeah, that will not be included on this list. So it's just going to be Star Wars Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and that next one that's going to come out in 2019. So yeah, everyone, Rogue One will not count. So let's start off with this entire 3 categories, everybody. Now, the first category is going to be what did each of these trilogies did for new and old characters. And when I'm talking about old characters, I'm talking about what did they did for the original trilogy. What did they enhance upon, or what did they improve about certain old characters and certain new characters? Who did they introduce in the prequel trilogy? For villains, Darth Maul, apprentice to Emperor Palpatine, his first apprentice. Count Dooku, played beautifully by I'm blanking out on his name, Christopher Lee. We got Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson for the first time, and General Grievous, Jango Fett, the father of Boba Fett. A lot of new interesting characters that were introduced in this prequel trilogy. Granted, we have Jar Jar Binks, who should just die in a hole. Now, what did they do for old characters? They enhance upon Emperor Palpatine. If anyone could agree with anything about the prequel trilogy, what they did right is what they did with Emperor Palpatine. What they did with his character to advance upon him in the Phantom Menace, how he was slowly manipulating the council, how he was starting to get into power, tackle clones, he got into more power, he declared war against the Trade Federation, which a war he manipulated in. And then in the Revenge of the Sith, he wipes out the Jedi Order. We see the rise of Emperor Palpatine in the prequel trilogy. That enhances upon old characters tremendously. Obi-Wan Kenobi never came to life until Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor made Obi-Wan Kenobi what he is today. Also for new character, you got Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn, the master of Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's not to like? Anakin Skywalker. The Phantom Menace, a lot of people don't like him because he's a kid, and they just find him annoying. I find him actually an interesting character. His mother and him are in slavery. He'd been trying to do pod racing for a while, never really succeeded, until he finally wins one, and he ultimately wants to win the freedom for him and his mother. So ultimately, I'm really immediately interested of how Anakin Skywalker is going to turn into a Jedi, and I really feel for this kid who grew up to be Darth Vader. I really do enjoy a lot what the prequel did with Anakin Skywalker. We see his descent into becoming a Jedi. We see his descent to become a Darth Vader. We see him just becoming we see the rise of Anakin Skywalker and the fall of him becoming Darth Vader. That's what the prequels did for this entire trilogy. They enhanced upon to the old trilogy. They set some more things. Now, the sequel trilogy. Who did they introduce? Kylo Ren, the son of Han Solo, is now a Sith. Oh, Jesus. I feel like Disney copied and pasted so much from the extended universe or from the actual lore of Star Wars. So Kylo Ren, the son of Han Solo and Princess Leia, turned to the dark side. Only villain. Only villain to me. I do not count Captain Phasma. If you want to know who Captain Phasma is, she is just shit. And she has no explanation. She's just a terrible character. Other villain of this entire trilogy, let's go with Captain Hux. You know, the racist commander of the imperialist army. No, a throwaway character. Okay. Next villain up, Snoke, mysterious figure who turned Kylo Ren to the dark side. Was killed off in The Last Jedi. More than likely, he's only going to be the redeemable villain of this entire sequel trilogy, because more likely he's going to appear in Episode 9. We're going to give a little bit of backstory to him, and he's going to probably be an interesting character. And Andy Serkis, who plays him, is wonderful, but Snoke as a character, so far it's a miss. But either way, he might be the only good thing about this entire sequel trilogy for villains. Who else did they introduce for heroes? Finn, the hotshot pilot, kind of like Han Solo template. Okay. Finn, the stormtrooper janitorial stormtrooper who runs away from every single fight. He didn't mind killing. He did not like killing the civilians in Jakku. Okay, but when he immediately tries to lead the First Order, he doesn't mind killing his fellow stormtroopers. You think a guy who values life would care more about his fellow stormtroopers? I mean, they all went through the same process as him. The Empire apparently stole them from their families. Some of them. Taken from a young age and all that stuff. So, okay, Finn's character. I don't even want to explain what happens to him, really. Much in this entire thing is just, he's just a wasted opportunity of a character. He could have been an interesting character, but he's wasted. Rey. I know people are going to be triggered by this. She's the Mary Sue. She is a Mary Sue. Think of a male version of Luke Skywalker, except she could fail at nothing. She's very powerful in the Force, and when I mean powerful in the Force, she doesn't need training for nothing. Lift a rock, she could do that in 2 minutes, tops. A day, at most. She's basically just here for this whole political agenda that women could do everything. She's a wasted opportunity for Star Wars characters, a wasted opportunity for Star Wars lore. Who else did they introduce for this new sequel trilogy? Let me think right here. I'm trying to think of, like, who else did they introduce? Oh, BB-8. Copy of R2-D2, just a soccer ball. Okay. Rose. Last Jedi. Do I really need to talk about her? Okay, I won't. I just won't. I'll just ignore her. So yeah, that's the entire sequel trilogy, new characters. Very excited. What about old characters? What happened? Han Solo's still a smuggler. Princess Leia is still a resistance leader. Luke Skywalker failed to rebuild the Jedi Order. Got so depressed, lived as a hermit, just wants to die. And that's pretty much of his character. Do I need to explain what happened to Luke Skywalker? Do I need to explain the abomination, what Disney did to his character? As Mark Hamill even explained himself, Luke does not give up. Maybe he'll take a year out or two, but 30 dang years. Or like how many dang years he was in exile? Come on. He regroups. If he fails, he breaks down a little bit, and then he gets back on the horse. He doesn't give up. As far as Last Jedi, he gives up until Rey comes along and gives him a pep talk, and she teaches him something instead of him teaching her. Okay, that's what they did for the original trilogy characters. And I say the only one that ain't damaged by the original, by the sequel trilogy to the original characters is Chewbacca. They have not screwed up Chewbacca yet. Thank God. Do we see a lot of C-3PO? No, we shouldn't. R2-D2? No, we shouldn't have seen them at all, really. But they didn't ruin them because they're freaking droids. Chewbacca's an animal that just gurs. For all their human characters, they destroy. Maybe I like that one character, Maz, the new character. I actually enjoy her as a character. Other than that, new and old characters for this category 1? Do I really need to explain why the prequel trilogy characters, new and old, are treated better than the sequel trilogy characters? But yeah, everyone. So that is just category 1 of this entire prequels or sequel trilogy characters. Now the second category is the story. The prequel story versus the sequel story. What's the prequel story? Well, let's start off with Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace, there is a trade dispute over the planet of Naboo, which the Jedi Council sends Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi to resolve these issues. The Trade Federation keeps Naboo hostage, invades the planet, tries to take over, while Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi take the Queen away. They land on Tatooine, they meet Anakin Skywalker, and during this time they're trying to resolve the issue of Naboo. Now, Phantom Menace is just a stepping stone for Emperor Palpatine's master plan. But what this Phantom Menace did was just build up characters. Phantom Menace built up the story for future characters. It was a starting point. That's what Phantom Menace was, a stepping stone. Now, let's look at Attack of the Clones. What was Attack of the Clones was? It was supposed to build upon the relationship of the original prequel characters, enhance certain storylines, and it shows that the entire Republic is going into war. Count Dooku, played beautifully by, again, Christopher Lee, who's trying to start a war with the help of Emperor Palpatine, or the Emperor himself. And things escalate. During this time, Obi-Wan Kenobi is training Anakin Skywalker as a Jedi. There's tension between them. Anakin Skywalker falls in love with Padme. I do not really care for the actors and actress relationship. I really did not care for their chemistry. They were terrible. But that was basically what Attack of the Clones was. Revenge of the Sith was a war escalating, coming to a head, and elimination of the Jedi Order and Revenge of the Sith. Emperor Palpatine wiped out the Jedi Order, and the beginning of how the original trilogy is connected. And basically, the prequel for Revenge of the Sith connects everything to the original trilogy. Darth Vader is born, the Jedi are extinct, they're in hiding, Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia are born. What more could you want, to me, in the entire prequel trilogy storyline? Now, let's talk about Star Wars Force Awakens story, the beginning of this entire sequel trilogy. This is the sequel that comes right after Return of the Jedi. What happens? For no explanation, the Empire is rebuilt as the First Order. They have nearly recontrolled the galaxy. I say the only explanation for this is they left it to the video game Star Wars Battlefront 2, and that was a terrible ass story as to why the Empire is still around. So the Empire is still around. The Rebel Alliance, the future of the Republic, the New Republic, gets destroyed. This movie, The Force Awakens, has no explanation of why certain things happen after Return of the Jedi. If the prequels had to live up to explaining the storyline of how it leads to the original trilogy, then how come the sequel trilogy is not shared in the same... how come the sequel trilogy is given a pass, especially The Force Awakens is given a pass for when it's trying to connect the dots to a Return of the Jedi? Now, later on in the future films in The Last Jedi, we get actual storyline as to why certain things happened, but it's not really good. Now, for The Force Awakens, what happened after the end of Return of the Jedi? Well, again, the Empire is still around. They have took control of the galaxy. A new guy in a mask. A new guy in the dark black hooded outfit with a lightsaber is in a mask. He has this little breeding thing also. And he's looking for a map for Luke Skywalker. The hotshot pilots put the information inside of a droid. The droid is sent to a desert planet. In a desert planet, he meets a stranger. And the stranger takes the droid on a Millennium Falcon to a new location so they could basically give the secret information to the Rebel Alliance. In case you blinked out from what I've been talking about, The Force Awakens right there, the entire story that I just described, sounds awfully familiar to A New Hope. Because that's what it is. The Force Awakens is copy and paste of A New Hope storyline. They changed Luke Skywalker's male lead to Rey, whatever her dang last name is going to be, from Rey to a female lead. This entire movie is just a rehash of New Hope. So whatever the characters did in the original trilogy did not matter. Luke Skywalker defeating Darth Vader did not matter. Him becoming a Jedi at the end did not matter. Leia and Han destroying the second Death Star did not matter. Now I get they didn't want to copy certain things from the book, because in the books, they rebuilt the Jedi Order, the New Republic is formed. Granted, granted they had some issues with the Empire that was still around. They had to go to each planet in the books to make sure the people who were loyal to the Empire, that the Emperor is dead. They don't have to worship him no more. This one, really no explanation for a lot of this stuff. And again, if you want to see the entire extended universe of Star Wars, the lore that was before Disney came along, you should definitely check it out. Because when you read or even look up what the extended universe brought, you'll realize how much Disney has copied and pasted from the original trilogy and from the extended lore, from the original lore. So The Force Awakens is a copy and paste of New Hope. It's just nostalgia. I can understand you can be tricked by it. I was tricked by it with my feels for this film when I saw it the first time. I enjoyed it, but then I realized they didn't really do a lot of new things. They're just no explanations given. I mean, Rey, again, is like one of the worst Star Wars characters of all time. She's probably one of the worst movie characters of all time. Because she doesn't need no training for help. She doesn't need no training for nothing. Okay, her blocking out Kylo Ren with the Force. Long shot, but okay. Manipulating a stormtrooper to let her go. Okay. Getting a lightsaber to her. Long shot at best, but okay. Her defeating a trained Sith and Kylo Ren, who was trained by Luke Skywalker and Commander Snoke. No, I do not give a shit. Force Awakens has destroyed the Star Wars lore. It was destroyed the Star Wars lore. The fact is that you put Rey, and people say, oh, she's powerful in the Force. Anakin Skywalker is powerful in the Force. Phantom Menace, his character couldn't do shit. He lost pod races at the beginning as a kid. And then he finally gets one. Granted, I'll agree with people who say he got overpowered at the end by destroying a Trade Federation ship. Rey, again, power does not equal like you're good with technique. You can be powerful, but if you don't use the power correctly or you don't train, you ain't gonna be good. The fact that she beats him at the end, I did not care for. The fact that Han Solo died in this film, I did not care for. This entire film, to me, was for the most part a waste. I had some good nostalgia moments. I liked some good scenes about this. But overall, I don't hate this film. I'm okay with this film. But Star Wars Force Awakens, that's the general gist of the storyline. If they did new things, I'll be okay with it. But, correction, I would be okay with new things that didn't destroy the lore and love of Star Wars. But that's my own personal opinion. So yeah, The Force Awakens, that's their first movie of their sequel trilogy. Let's go next with The Last Jedi. Now, Star Wars The Last Jedi. What happened after The Force Awakens? Finn wakes up from his coma. Wondering where Rey's at. He decides to leave again because the First Order is tracking him through hyperspace. He meets a girl named Rose, who her sister was a bomber. She died at the beginning of this film. A Force subplot with a casino planet to basically go to a casino planet to get to find a hacker who could hack into one of the Empire's dang ships to basically remove the tracking device so they could jump to light speed and the Rebel Alliance could be saved. They take 45 minutes on that, and for that entire film, it's all about evil, rich people. That's what the entire story arc of that film. Finn's character is wasted with Rose's character. This is like the biggest social justice war, political bullshit I've been seeing for the longest. This is utterly crap, what they did with The Last Jedi for Finn and Rose. Then we got Poe Dameron. What did Poe Dameron do? He decides to do a mutiny. Because the pink-haired lady in this dang film decided not to tell him the plan that they were gonna evacuate the ships and go to the planet. Also was stupid at the end, that even though the Empire has like 3 ships behind, like humongous ships, and they can't seem to chase down the Rebel Alliance ships. It's like it takes forever just to catch them. It's literally the entire movie is all about for the Rebel Alliance is that they're trying to outrun the Empire. For the entire portion of the film. Nearly. They're trying to outrun them. They're on the run constantly. Think of Empire Strikes Back beginning with the Rebel Alliance getting attacked by the Empire. And then next thing you know, it drags throughout the entire film. That's what it is. For some odd reason, Empire doesn't have good things to go after them. I mean, apparently the Rebel shields are fantastic. But at the end, Captain Aldo, or whatever you want to call her, she basically, but's the last of the ships. She wasted all the other two ships, and she decides to do hyper jump into the dang Dreadnought, into one of the big Imperialist ships, and takes out three of them. It goes right through it, and it's a kamikaze run, suicide run. Why didn't that character do it earlier? Who knows? Why wouldn't they do it beforehand instead of using the bombers that apparently are weak as hell? Why? Logic of Star Wars is ruined in this film. How could people love this shit? Okay. What also happened? Oh, Admiral Akbar was killed off screen. The original trilogy character was killed off screen. God-awful piece of shit writing. Luke Skywalker. He doesn't train Rey. He said he's going to teach her 3 lessons. He taught her 1, and that was it. He lives as a hermit on a little island planet with some freaky-looking nun characters. Alien nuns. Rey tries to teach him something. Like, you shouldn't have given up on Kylo Ren. And constantly throughout this time. And here's the thing, right? This takes place right after the fucking Force Awakens. The Last Jedi events. Luke Skywalker throws away his lightsaber. He doesn't want to be a Jedi no more. He believes that there should be no Sith and no Jedi. It's time for the Jedi to end. Rey believes that, like, oh, if you always leave this evil in the world, they're just going to consume everything. You always need to fight. So Luke Skywalker gives up on Kylo Ren. He was going to kill his own nephew. We figure out why Kylo Ren turned to the dark side. Luke Skywalker thought he saw a dark premonition of his nephew turning to the dark side, so he decided to ignite his lightsaber, and he thought about killing his own nephew. Right there is complete character jump from who Luke Skywalker was in Return of the Jedi. No way he would have thought that. No way he would have attacked his own nephew. I don't agree with this. You honestly expect me to respect what they did for these original characters. Admiral Akbar's killed off screen. Prince Leia is still a resistance leader. Han Solo is still a smuggler. The plot of this entire movie resolved about Rey teaching Luke Skywalker a lesson. At the end, I predicted this. Luke Skywalker said to Kylo Ren, I will no longer be the last Jedi. So, Return of the Jedi does not matter because Rey is now the last Jedi. Are you fucking kidding me? Again, she does everything by herself. She doesn't need no training. She is perfect. Star Wars lore was broken in this entire dang franchise right here. I know I'm jumping between my second step and my third step, or 3 different categories. The second step is a story. The third category is a lore. But I don't really want to get too much more into this because I've been talking for a dang long time. So let's just count 2 and 3 for this. Like 2, the story for the entire sequel trilogy, and lore. And I don't even need to explain about the next Star Wars film that's going to come out. Star Wars Episode 9. Who cares? What, Rey's going to train the new Jedi Order? That's what Luke Skywalker should have done. You just replaced a male lead to do what a female lead did. Why? Above all, why? Kylo Ren's character? Who cares about this conniving little twerp? Who cares about this piece of shit? He killed Han Solo, his own father. F him, he has no redemption to me. I don't give a shit about Kylo Ren. I don't care about Finn, Poe, Rey, Rose. I don't care about none of these new characters. Who did they introduce? Captain Phasma? Oh my god. Terrible character. This film has shitted upon the entire franchise. If Force Awakens played it safe by doing like the same old stuff as New Hope, then Last Jedi was just a mixture of Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and completely destroying Star Wars world. For story-wise, for the sequel trilogy, it's just terrible. Prequels are obviously better. And the reason why I stated why it's better, just go back and rewatch, re-listen. Now, lore. Sequel trilogy, characters need. Sequel trilogy, characters need to establish. See, in the entire sequel trilogy, characters need to be no training whatsoever. They don't need no training. Rey does not need no training in order to become a Jedi. She doesn't need none. In prequels, Anakin Skywalker trained many years and still wasn't able to beat Rey. Still wasn't able to beat Sith Lords. Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones faced on Count Dooku. He lost an arm. Rey takes on Kylo Ren for the first time. She beats him. She had no training with a lightsaber, while Anakin Skywalker took years to train. Luke Skywalker, in the entire original trilogy, didn't face Darth Vader in New Hope. Fought him in Empire with very little training. Lost a hand. And then, Return of the Jedi, he beats him. Training and powerful makes you better, not just because you're all powerful. Just because you're all powerful doesn't mean you can be a trained warrior. It does not mean that at all. Lore is broken for Star Wars characters in Star Wars, the sequel trilogy. Characters that don't need to be trained, and bullshit thing for the space battles is stupid. The space battles in the entire sequel trilogy is completely retarded. Hyperspace suit kamikaze runs. Why didn't they do it sooner? Why can't the Empire shoot down these rebel ships like in nothing, in a little bit of seconds? Their shields are standing for so long. But they can't do kamikaze runs? I'm pretty sure the Empire would have done that. Makes absolutely no fucking sense, the lore of the entire sequel trilogy. It's been trashed upon by Rey, by Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, all this stuff for Disney, what they have done with this entire franchise of Star Wars, has ruined it. I can't even speak no more for how much I cannot stand what they have done with this new Star Wars franchise. Why do people find the prequels are worse than the sequel trilogy? I'll never understand. I gave you reasons why. Prequels respected the original characters. They added growth to them. Added new interesting characters, new villains. Respected the lore. Story-wise was great. Not the most entertaining, but still good. And both films have politics. Both trilogies have politics. Prequels have politics in the actual movie that shows Darth Sidious, the Emperor Palpatine, manipulating everything so he could start the Clone Wars and to basically get rid of the Jedi and eliminate them and to control and to have his control of the galaxy. Beautifully done for politics. I'm clapping right now. That was fantastic. Oh, sequel trilogy politics. Oh, you have... Oh, what you're gonna give me? Social justice warriors, females could do everything. Rich people are evil on the casino planet. You rushed a love story between Finn and Rey at the beginning. You want interracial couple? No problem. I like interracial couple too. House of Cards, Jackie Sharp and Remy Denton. Love them as a couple. Character build-up. Loved it. This? Finn gets off of the desert planet, immediately in love with the first girl. Then, in the second film, Rose is in love with him. I do not care for this entire sequel trilogy. And I even heard this might not even be a trilogy. They might have 4 films with Rey and Finn and Poe. Why? So people tell me the prequels versus the sequel trilogy, the prequels are obviously the winner. I gave you logic. I gave you reasons. I gave you a whole explanation as to why the prequels are better. Now, if logic doesn't seem to go through your head, I don't know what to help you with. I can't put a hammer to your head and try to shove the information down. I can't do that. Because I go to jail. But there's no more what I need to explain about this. The prequels are better than the sequels. End of story, end discussion. Now, if you want to disagree with me, I would love for you to at least show me facts. Show me reasons why, other than I'm an idiot, or I'm a racist, I'm a sexist. Give me reasons as to why I am wrong. If you could do that, I will accept it. I will accept your opinion then. Until then, if you're just relying on nostalgia for these films, for the sequel trilogy, I don't know what to tell you. So everyone, that's my review. Named Jalise, signing off for everybody. Bye-bye.